Actually, cancel that sandwich. That's all he said. But it was the way he said it. Flat, hollow, like something had just broken inside him. Nobody in the diner noticed. Not the cashier chewing gum so loud it echoed over the music. Not the kid at the register who smirked at every new customer. Not the cook in the back, sliding burnt brisket onto cold bread. No one knew that the man they just dismissed, mocked, and ignored was the owner. Eli Carter, founder of this place, son of this town, and grandson of the woman whose name still glowed in flickering neon above the door. He walked in to feel the soul of his restaurant, and walked out wondering if it had one left. Thank you for being here. Sometimes, the smallest moments carry the greatest meaning. Today's story is one of those, quiet, powerful, and worth remembering. If it touches your heart, feel free to share your thoughts in the comments. And if you'd like more stories like this, you're warmly invited to subscribe and tap the bell so you won't miss the next one. Now, let's take a closer look at what really happened. It had been 14 months since Eli Carter last walked into Carter's table as a customer. Not a tour, not a photo op, not a meeting in the back with vendors or finance people. Just a walk-in, like anybody else. But something had started to gnaw at him. First, it was the Yelp reviews, not the dramatic ones, but the small, quiet comments. Things like, used to feel more welcoming. Or, food's still good, but the energy's just off. Then came a message from a neighbor, a woman whose son Eli had once hired through a community kitchen program. She quit, the message said. Didn't feel respected anymore. And that's what did it. Because Eli hadn't opened Carter's table for reviews, or profit, or even pride. He'd built it because of one woman. Her name was Ruthie Mae Carter. People called her Miss Ruth. And when she was alive, she could turn a bag of groceries into a Sunday meal that fed 3 families and still made room for the mailman. She ran a kitchen like it was a core, strict, loving, and always on time. Growing up in Valdosta, Georgia, Eli used to sit on the stoop while she stirred pots, wiped sweat from her brow, and told stories about resilience and redemption. She used to say, "You feed people first. Worry about everything else later." So when Eli finally got out of student loan debt, found his footing, and got tired of fancy conference rooms with catered lunches that never filled the heart, he cashed out everything he had, bought an old auto parts shop with peeling brick and oil-stained floors, threw in a 200 smoker, painted it green and yellow like Miss Ruthie's kitchen curtains, and opened Carter's table. He didn't know what he was doing, but he knew what he wanted it to feel like. People came. Not in waves, but steady. First-timers, second-chancers, folks who had a record, a history, a reason most places said no. At Carter's table, Eli said, was. He didn't hire for polish. He hired for heart, and for a while it worked. Reggie Big Reg Turner came straight from a halfway house. He turned the grill into a performance stage. Tiana Monroe, a waitress with a shy smile, once told Ali, "This is the first place I didn't feel watched." And even when the place got busy, local news segments, Instagram foodies, even a travel blog review, Eli never let it change the mission. Until the pandemic hit. That's when Eli stepped back. What was supposed to be a month or two turned into nearly a year. He kept payroll going, kept checks coming in, kept supply chains moving. But he wasn't there. Not in the kitchen, not in the dining room, not in the alley behind the grill where people vented and smoked and exhaled. He told himself it was logistics, delegation, leadership, but deep down he'd become what he feared most, an owner in name only. And now something had shifted, something quiet, but dangerous. So, Eli did something most bosses wouldn't dream of. He put on a Braves cap, an old hoodie, and a pair of jeans with a little rip near the knee. He left the Lexus in the garage and drove his sister's dusty Camry. He walked into Carter's table at 12:46 p.m. lunch rush. The smells still hit him like a memory. Brisket, greens, cornbread, a sharp swirl of vinegar and the barbecue sauce. It smelled like Miss Ruth's kitchen, but it didn't feel like it. Nobody looked up. Not the cashier chewing gum like it owed her money. Not the kid behind the counter scrolling his phone. Not the servers who floated past without a single "oh" he ordered. Pulled pork sandwich. Baked beans, paid in cash. Stepped to the side, waited. Then he heard it. You see him. Another walk in. Probably off Cedar. They never tip. Place has been going downhill since they started hiring from that shelter thing. Laughter. Not nervous laughter. Confident. Like this was just normal. Then one said something that landed hard. They say the owner's some rich dude never comes around. Probably sipping green juice in Buckhead. The other snorted. Bet he don't even know half the people he hired. They didn't even glance at him. Eli Carter. Founder. Legacy bearer. Standing 10 feet away, he didn't speak. Didn't scold. Just said, actually, cancel that sandwich. The cashier barely looked up. You sure? Yeah, Eli said, voice quiet. Lost my appetite. He walked out. Closed the door behind him. Sat in his car. And stared at the steering wheel. His grandmother's name was glowing above the diner in neon. But inside, nobody remembered who she was. He didn't drive off. He stayed. Watched. Waited. 15 minutes passed. Then 20. He got out, walked down the block to a gas station. Bought a coffee he didn't even want. Came back. Slipped around the alley behind the diner. Old steel door. Cracked window above it, no cameras. Then laughter inside. That laugh. He knew it, big reg. Then a voice. He ain't never coming back. If he does, he'll probably walk in all fancy. Act like he invented gumbo. More laughter. But then a pause. And Big Reg spoke. You know he started this place with 200 and a backyard smoker, right? Silence. Watch your mouth. Another silence. Some of us remember what this place used to mean. Eli stepped back. His throat was tight. But not from anger. It was something else. Something worse. Shame. He had planted a garden. And then walked away. Now the weeds had grown louder than the roots. The next morning, he sent a single text to the entire staff. Team meeting. 9 a.m. required. No exceptions. No emojis. No explanation. He booked a hotel outside the city. Sat at the desk all night with a legal pad, scribbling everything he heard, everything he felt. Tomorrow wasn't about firing people. Not yet. Tomorrow was about this. Was there still a soul left in Carter's table? And if there was it still worth saving? The next morning came fast. Eli hadn't slept much, not because of nerves, but because his mind wouldn't shut off. Every word from the day before looped in his head. He ain't never coming back. Bet he don't even know half the people he hired, probably sipping green juice in Buckhead. By 8:47 a.m., he was parked outside Carter's table again. But this time, no hoodie. No cap, no shadows, just Eli. Charcoal blazer, clean button down, jeans and boots. The way he used to dress before he disappeared. He watched through the windshield. Marina, the cashier, showed up late. Eyes locked on her phone. No hurry. Kendall strolled in laughing at something in his earbuds. Reggie arrived first, already unlocking the side door. Sheris, the young cook Eli once hired fresh out of culinary school, followed with 2 dishwashers. Then Tiana, always on time, always quiet. He waited until 9:02, then opened his door, but stepped out. The first to see him was Charis. Her eyes widened. Then Reggie, his gaze locked with Eli's. He gave a subtle nod. Not surprised. Just ready. Marina froze mid-step. Kendall stopped laughing. It was like someone pulled the plug on their volume. Eli walked past them, didn't speak. Didn't stop. He opened the front door to his own diner. The staff had gathered by the booths, scattered, unsure whether to sit or stand. Some leaned on counters. Some fidgeted. Eli let the silence hang. Longer than comfortable. Then he cleared his throat. I won't keep you long, he said. But I need to say some things. And I want you to hear me. Really hear me. He paused. This place, it's named after my grandmother, Ruthie Mae Carter. A few looked up. Tiana stopped chewing her lip. She passed 15 years ago. But if you'd ever met her, you'd understand why this diner means more than food or 5-star reviews. Charis blinked. Reggie straightened up, arms folded with respect. She fed people who couldn't pay, gave second chances like they were Sunday biscuits, believed no one was broken, just overlooked. Marilai scanned the room. Marina stared at the floor. Kendall's jaw was tight, like he was bracing for something. When I started Carter's table, I wanted to build her kitchen at scale. A place where folks could eat, work, laugh, and feel like they belonged. He stepped forward. But yesterday I walked in, and I didn't recognize what I built. Now every eye was on him. I came in wearing jeans and a hoodie. Ordered a sandwich. Stood right there. He pointed to the floor in front of the counter. And I heard two employees talking about me. About new hires from shelter programs. Saying I don't care, that I don't even know who I've hired. He didn't say names. He didn't have to. The room knew. I heard it all. And I walked out, didn't yell, didn't correct anyone, because I needed to understand how far things had fallen. He looked directly at Marina, then at Kendall. I own this place. I built it with scraped knees, credit card debt, and a dream. But I also walked away. That's on me. He took a breath, let it settle. But the disrespect, the mockery, that's on you. The room didn't move. No shuffle, no cough. Just the kind of stillness that falls when truth drops heavy in the middle and no one can step around it. Marina glanced up. Just a flicker. Her face wore that mix of guilt and fear. When someone knows they crossed a line, but don't know how to walk it back. Kendall leaned against the counter, arms crossed, trying to look unfazed, but his foot tapped faster than he realized. Eli moved toward the center. I'm not here to yell, but I am here to fix this. He looked at Reggie. Some of y'all still carry the heart of this place. I see it. I feel it. And I appreciate it more than you know. He turned to the others. But some of you, you've been clocking in, collecting checks and treating this place like it's beneath you. His voice didn't rise. It got quieter, more dangerous. That ends now. A soft voice broke the tension. Mr. Carter, Tiana, mid-30s, steady, reliable. I didn't know you were watching like that, she said. Thank you for showing up. Eli nodded. I should have shown up sooner. He looked across the team. I let my distance become confusion. Let folks make up stories about who I was and what I cared about. That's on me. He pulled a folded sheet of paper from his pocket. Starting next week, we're doing real monthly check-ins. Not hallway chats. Not clipboard surveys. Real talks. He held up the paper. I'll be here twice a week. You'll see my face. Someone whispered, about time. It wasn't sarcastic, it was hopeful. But listen closely, Eli said, eyes scanning the room. If you don't want to be here, don't clock in. Don't waste your time or insult this place by pretending. This isn't just a job. Not here. If you can't bring respect into this building, for the food, the people, the purpose, you're free to leave. Still, no one moved. Then he turned to Marina and to Kendall. You two, come with me. He walked toward the back hallway, held the door open without looking back. After a moment, they followed. Back near the pantry, no customers, no audience. He closed the door gently behind them. I'm giving you this moment, he said softly. Tell me what this place means to you, or doesn't. Kendall exhaled, looked away. Marina folded her arms. Eli waited. Kendall finally muttered, I just work here. It's not personal, it's a check. Eli didn't flinch. Then you've been cashing the wrong kind of check. Because Carter's table was never just about food. He looked to Marina. She raised her eyes. But you weren't around, she said. It felt like it didn't matter. Eli nodded. Fair. That's on me. He leaned back, arms crossed. But how does that justify mocking the same man who signs your checks? Or trashing new hires who are trying to rebuild their lives? Marina looked down, quiet now. I was wrong, she whispered. Kendall said nothing. I'm not firing either of you, Eli said. Not today. Because maybe what this place needs isn't fewer people, but better ones. Ones who learn, ones who grow. He nodded toward the kitchen door. You've got one shot. Prove you belong. Not with words, with how you treat people. He opened the door and walked out. Left it up to them, whether they'd follow. Back in the dining room, the energy had shifted. Not cheerful, but aware. Eli clapped once. All right, he said. We open in 30. Let's find out if Carter's table still has a soul. But even as they moved, prepped, and set up, he knew. The real test was just beginning. The lunch rush came right on time, 12:05 p.m. just like the day before. The front door swung open over and over again. Kids asking for extra fries, a man in overalls reading a folded newspaper, two sisters laughing over sweet tea. The line curled past the register. But Eli, he didn't sit back. He stood by the coffee station, quiet, steady, not hovering, not barking orders, just watching, a notepad in one hand, pen never quite touching the paper. He was watching for something deeper than efficiency. He was watching for soul. Sharice worked the grill like she was dancing. Every movement clean. Every flip sharp. Big Reg moved between stations like a conductor with a jazz band, giving nods, cracking jokes, grounding the kitchen. Tiana had her rhythm back. She glided from table to table with the kind of ease that only comes when you care. But the front register, that's where things stuttered. Marina was trying. You could tell. She smiled. She greeted. She said thank you like she meant it. But it was stiff, like she was wearing someone else's jacket. And Kendall. Kendall was quiet, took orders, didn't look up, disappeared to the back the moment he wasn't needed. Eli didn't intervene. He let the pressure do the talking. At 12:46, exactly the time Eli had walked in the day before, a young man stepped through the door, maybe 19, faded hoodie, one hand in his pocket, eyes darting, scanning the room for exits before he even stepped in line. He was nervous, too nervous for a pulled pork sandwich. Marina saw him, glanced once, then looked away. Kendall took one look and stepped back from the counter. That's when Reggie came out of the kitchen, hands still damp, towel on his shoulder. He saw the boy, nodded once. You got this, Reggie said, steady and low. The kid hesitated, then stepped forward. Oh, can I get the catfish combo, with greens instead of fries? His voice barely made it across the counter. Marina tapped the screen. That it? He nodded. As she rang it up, Eli noticed her glance sideways at Kendall. Kendall didn't look back, just turned away, arms crossed. Order up in 10, Marina mumbled. Thanks, the kid whispered, then stepped aside, clutching the receipt like it was made of glass. Eli had seen enough. When the line died down, he walked to the counter, looked Marina in the eye. You know who that was? She blinked. No. Should I? Isaiah Penn. He just joined the shelter program last week. Came here on recommendation. Her mouth opened. Nothing came out. He's not dangerous. He's not broken. He's just starting over. Marina looked away. He looked like he wanted to disappear, she said. Eli nodded. That's how most people feel, when the world makes them feel small. She exhaled, looked down. I'm sorry. I mean it. I know, Eli said. But don't say it to me. Say it through how you treat the next 10 people. 10 minutes later, Reggie handed Isaiah his food, with a smile, and a fist bump, and something in the diner shifted. The mood, the rhythm, the current. It wasn't dramatic, just a spark. But in kitchens, that's all you need. By 1:30, the tip jar was fuller than it had been all week. The kitchen was cleaner. And the customers, they lingered, talked, smiled a little longer after their meals. Eli sat at his usual booth by the window, a place he hadn't touched in over a year. He watched and waited. Around 20:40, Kendall walked over. No swagger this time, he wiped his hands on a rag. Nervous, but not hiding behind it. I talked too much, he said. Didn't realize how loud I was? Eli nodded. You weren't just loud, you were wrong. Kendall swallowed. Yeah. Silence. Then, quietly, I don't want to lose this job. I'll do better. Eli studied him. I believe in second chances, but only when the first one gets acknowledged. Kendall straightened, then walked off, not puffed up, not crushed, just thinking. The culture wasn't fixed, not in one shift, but it had cracked open, and light was starting to seep through. The next morning, Eli was back before sunrise. The diner was still, empty, smelled like flour and bacon grease and hope. He stood in the kitchen, coffee in hand, and stared at the old corkboard above the prep table. Pinned to it was a photo of Miss Ruth. Smiling, tough eyes. Sunday hat. Arms crossed like she was still in charge. I almost lost this place, Grandma, he whispered. Then he turned on the lights. At 7:55 a.m., the staff arrived. He called a short meeting. No surprise this time. They gathered in the dining room. Booths, counters, no tension, just curiosity. I want to thank y'all, Eli said. Yesterday, that was the first time in a long time this place felt like it used to. A few nodded. Tiana smiled. Reggie gave a thumbs up from the kitchen door. But one day doesn't fix everything, Eli added. It just shows who's willing to try. He paused. So today, I'm giving everyone a choice. A real one. He reached under his arm, pulled out 2 folders. Held them up. This one's for those who want to stay, he said. Who believe in what this place stands for. Who want to show up, not just physically, but with heart. He raised the second. This one's for those who want to move on. No hard feelings. No judgment. Sign the paper. Finish today's shift. You'll get 2 weeks' pay and a recommendation letter. A quiet ripple moved through the room. Charisse whispered something to Tiana. Kendall looked at the floor. Marina rubbed her hands against her thighs. Eli continued. You don't have to decide right now, but I'll need an answer by tonight. He placed both folders on the counter. No shame either way, but don't stay here just to clock in. Not at Carter's table. As the staff turned back to prep for breakfast, Eli stepped away. Back to his booth, back to watching, back to trusting that choice speaks louder than any apology. By mid-morning, the first form came in. Reggie slid it across the counter without hesitation. I'm staying, he said. This place saved me. Time to return the favor. Then Charisse. Then Tiana. One by one, the pieces started clicking back into place. But not all the news was good. At 4:15 p.m., Marina sat across from Eli. She hadn't touched her lunch. I think I need to go, she said softly. Eli met her eyes. You sure? She nodded. I don't think I was ever really built for a place like this. I was chasing a paycheck. You need people who chase purpose. Eli didn't argue. Thank you for being honest, he said. You handled today with more grace than I expected. That matters. She gave a faint smile, stood up, folded her uniform, left it on the chair, then walked out. Kendall came in last, past closing, just the mop buckets and quiet chair scraping tile. He placed his form on the table. I'm staying, he said, voice steady. And I'll earn it this time. Eli looked him over. Then don't make me regret it. Kendall gave the smallest smile. You won't. It wasn't a perfect ending. But maybe that was the point. Real change doesn't happen all at once. It happens when people finally get brave enough to choose it. 1 week later, Carter's table didn't look new. It just looked right. The neon sign still flickered in one corner. Faint buzz, one dim yellow tube near the Eli didn't fix it. He liked it that way. The imperfection. It reminded him, there's still work to be done, just like the people inside. That morning, the front bell dinged again, the kind of sound that feels like home when it's been missing too long. Tiana smiled from behind the counter. Morning, Miss Rollins. She called out, already grabbing the to-go cup before the woman could ask. Reggie whistled in the kitchen. Charisse plated a pecan waffle with one hand while flipping bacon with the other, and Kendall, he was wiping down the menus without being asked, still quiet, still reserved, but present, and that mattered. At 11:12 a.m., a man in a charcoal suit stepped in, out-of-towner. One look said he'd taken a wrong turn off the business parkway. Phone in hand. Tie too tight. He scanned the booths like he was hunting for a wee feast signal. Tiana saw him. Didn't wait. She walked right over. Brought him water before he even sat down. Catfish is best today, she said. Just saying. By the time he left, he had 2 to-go containers for his hotel fridge, and a new favorite spot pinned on his map. Eli watched from behind the counter, arms folded. Not out of stress this time. He wasn't hiding, wasn't scouting, he was home. Sherry slid him a plate of peach cobbler, her version of Ruthie Mae's original, brown sugar crust. Just enough cinnamon. A little vanilla folded into the peaches. I fixed it just like her recipe, she said. Eli took one bite, closed his eyes. That's the one, he said quietly. She'd be proud of you. Sheriff smiled. Didn't need more than that. Later that afternoon, Isaiah came back. No hoodie this time, shirt tucked in. He walked taller, smiled wider. I landed the bus job, he told Reggie. Cleaning up the city shuttles over on Glenwood. Reggie clapped him on the back. Look at you. He grinned. Didn't I tell you? All it takes is one yes. I'm good, man, Isaiah said. Really good. First time I've said that in a while. A word was spreading, not on Yelp, not on Instagram, but the old way a mom told her sister. A mailman told a veteran. A courthouse janitor brought 3 coworkers in for lunch. Carter's table was becoming what it was always meant to be. Not perfect, but true. At closing, Eli stepped outside. The lot was quiet, the sky pinking at the edges with late sunlight. He leaned against the brick wall, arms folded, watching that flickering neon glow. He didn't need it to shine perfect. He just needed it to keep shining. A sound behind him. Sherry stepped out, apron in one hand, tying her hoodie tight. "You heading out?" she asked. "In a few, just giving myself a minute." She nodded, then reached into her pocket. "Customer left this on a table," she said. "Said it was for the owner." She handed him a folded sheet of paper, crinkled, torn from a receipt pad. He opened it, messy cursive. Wobbly lines. "Been coming here since y'all opened. Thought I lost the feeling when it changed. But today it felt like Ruthie again. Whoever she was, I can tell she's still here. Thank you." Eli read it twice, folded it gently, slipped it into his back pocket. Too important to leave behind it. Sheriff didn't say anything, just smiled, then went back inside. Eli